In today's class, we are going to discuss about SAP JCO, SAP's Java connector to access SAP system from Java. So using SAP Java connector, we can access SAP functionality like SAP BAPIs from Java. So SAP JCO is SAP's middleware component, and it supports both inbound and outbound calls. Like ABAP can communicate with Java and Java can communicate with ABAP. So we need to import SAP Java, SAP JCO.char. It's SAP Java connector from Service Marketplace, SAP Service Marketplace. So this is usually for commercial purpose and for educational purpose. You can download from Service Marketplace. So let's start creating a portal component like abstract portal component at JSP9 page. It can be anything to access SAP functionality like a BAPI. So to begin with, we need to create a SAP. We need to create a portal component in NetFever Developer Studio and deploy the application in portal server as a part file. So let's create a portal component first and let's deploy into the server. Okay, so let me start creating a project first. So new project in NetFever Developer Studio. Create a project. So demo SAP JCO application. And create a component. It can be a JSP9 page or an abstract portal component. So it can be either, you can choose either JSP9 page or abstract portal component. So I'm going to choose for the current scenario abstract portal component. Since this is just a demo, that's sufficient. So that's the name of the component and class name. So the name of the package. So your class is ready. That's your main controller, abstract portal component. Now the first step is adding the jar file. So you need to add SAP JCO.char file. That's the connector, and you need to import the package. So first let's add the jar file. So it's in the folder. Normally I keep all the jar files in a separate folder, and whenever I require, I need to add, I can easily add from that folder. So I always store all my connector files in separate folders. These are all the connector jar files required. And so for our current scenario, since we are actually working on SAP JCO, just this jar is enough, and those are all the other jar files required for other connectors. So let's add this jar file first. Yeah, that's added now, and now let's import a package called import comsap mw jco.star, and this is the package. It has got all the classes required to connect to backend and call the BAPI. So this package is important, and this is the first step after adding the jar. So this is the package to be imported. Now let's create the variables, let's define the variables required for getting connection or for getting repository object. So this is the outer class, and it has several inner classes required to get the connection or create a client object, etc. So the JCO is the outer class here. So I have a class called client. So I need to prepare a client object first. So it holds all the connection parameters. And the next one is repository object, and it holds the metadata, as well as it has a method called get function template, which is required to check whether the function is available in the backend or not. So we use it in the course of coding. So let's define another variable repository, and these two are done now. And let's move coding. Let's do the remaining coding in the content do content method. So let's do the stuff here, the remaining stuff. Now, as you can see, this is the connection variable, and this is repository variable. Connection variable, using this we prepare the connection object, and that's required to connect to the backend. So the connection object, it holds all the connection parameters, all your backend system parameters. Say your SAP system IP address, username, password, client number, like that. These are the connection parameters. So you need to have an account before you are connecting to a backend system. So make sure that you got all the details. So let me prepare the connection object first. So connection, and I have a method called create client. In my JCO class, I have a method called create client, and I have methods with 4 parameters, 5 and 6 parameters, and here we are providing 6 parameters. So let me choose a method with 6 parameters. I'm going to choose this one, and I will add the parameters like client number, your SAP system client number, then the client number, user name, password, like that. So this is my client number, this is my server's client number, and so this is my user ID. And my password. And the language that the SAP system loaded. And you can provide the host name or port number here. For I'm going to provide my IP address. Sorry, you can provide your host name or your IP address here. So I'm going to provide my IP address here. This is my SAP server's IP address. And system number finally. So with that we got 6 parameters, so that's enough. So as you can see, my connection object is ready. So normally we don't hard code like this in real-time scenarios. We store these variables, we store these data in XML file, deployment descriptor, and using component profile object we can access these. So this is fine for demo scenarios. So now my connection object is ready, and my second object is repository. So I need to make sure this is also created. So my repository, how do I create this repository object? That's new JCO.repository, and this JCO.repository constructor takes 2 parameters. One is a string which holds that connection object, so it can be anything, and store this. This is done. So this repository object is required to check the function in the backend, that the method in the backend, and